Hey, my name is Scotty, and in this tutorial we're going to be sketching this old cottage right here in a really easy way, especially great for beginners. It's got a simple perspective. Okay, step number one is to set up a bit of structure because we have a bit of a sky here and the grass at the bottom, so we want the building to sit somewhere in the middle there like that. So what I'm going to do is just come over here to the left, slightly down from the middle, and put a dot on this side. I'm going to come across, put a dot there. That's about just by eye. I'll show you how much that is, just if you're interested. That's about 4 inches or about 10.5 centimeters. But you can make it whatever size you like. I'm keeping it quite small because we don't want to get overwhelmed with all the details later when we're painting. And then if we go about halfway, you can put a light dot there just to see that distance. You could use your fingers like this, put a dot there. Or you can measure that with a ruler, but we don't want to be too perfection. Don't want to be too perfect. So we have that dot there, and then we have 4 dots, and that's that rectangle for that house. Okay, next we'll outline this house, but we're not going to draw a straight line from this point to here. We're actually going to make it a really interesting line, just like we have here with the grass, how it curves up slightly and comes down and has bits of grass coming up. There might be a little bit here that starts straight and then goes along and has a little tuft here, and then a bigger bit here, and then just little bits here like that. Like that. See, we've got that. That's the bottom of the house there. And then if you can find those dots hidden in there, we can go up each side. So between those 2 dots on the side, let's put a dot halfway there and put a dot halfway here. That is where the roof will finish. So make sure that has a nice section there for that bottom half of the house, and let's join that up. And when you're drawing these lines, they can be nice and slow, and you just let your pen, if it wobbles, it's okay. Wobbles are nice. Just let that ink out. Keep your eye half on the dot at the bottom and you follow that down. Next we connect those 2 lines. So go across, we're looking at that point there, and we're just drawing a line. Nice wobbly line. You can add a few little wrinkles to it, and then why not go back again, do another line here just to make that line nice and interesting. There we go. And because that's where the roof comes to, that's okay to make that quite an interesting double line. Now we want to go up to this corner here where the chimneys are in each corner. But you'll notice, if you actually look at the reference, that there's a slight angle here, so slightly angling in. So just before we get to the top there, so we're going to stop just about there, just angle in from that point like this. Like that side, and then come in this side the same distance down, and coming up like this. Now we look at that width, come in from this dot and about there. On the side about there. So we've got that space, that chimney, and let's go right connecting these dots again. So you can do this slowly. I'm keeping an eye on that end dot, making sure if you get off direction you can just do a second line. You've connected those 2 lines. Now we can add those chimneys in. So we'll go across the bottom like this and then diagonally up, and then have an angle there across the bottom. And now let's go up here on this side, a little line there. It's approximately the same length as this part here. And see that part there? We go up straight this time, we don't follow that angle. And then on the outside, get that top and come straight down to there. So come across, straight down. Like that. And then we add that top stone that sits on the top. Like that. And then those 2 chimneys, so this can just be all in one line, very loose shapes now, like that. You just draw that little rectangle and then this little cone shape and then something behind there. That's really cute, nice. So with this one I'm actually going to go through the detail on the building, and then we'll add the details on the side there. So let's go this thin capstones like that. And then we can go through them, and every so often put a little line that can be slightly different direction, makes it look more interesting and loose. And then down here, you can actually add a bit of thickness, second line if you like. That's about halfway from the width of the chimney. And then you can see there's a little detail step here. So let's add that on both sides. And then I like how this roof has repair jobs on it. Makes it look really old. So let's add a square here, rough square, and then little bits of timber, pinning that down. And then there's a big crack in the roof here. It's more angular, and it has more timber across there like that. And then over here, looks to me like it looks like a skylight. It's pretty cool. They've got a skylight in there, little tiny light, and then more pieces of timber for this repair job here. And then you can also add dark patches there between the timber. Now those tiles on the roof, we can add those in. We've got light diagonal lines, or lines at 45 degrees. So go across like this. And then I'm just following, looking at the last line I've done, and I'm sketching these lines with my wrist locked. Can you see that? I'm not doing this. I'm doing this with my elbow. And I'm just trying to focus on getting that width the whole way across the same. Obviously it doesn't matter if they're a little bit wonky. But yeah, beginners might struggle with that. So just take your time. Just focus on making that width the same, similar, not exactly the same. And try not to make them look bigger as they go across. Try to keep them the same, very consistent, the same way across. Like this. Oh, that was a bit narrower. Okay, there you go. If you like, you can turn the page like this and make it easier for your arm to have that same motion. 45 degrees, these lines here. I'm just crisscrossing. Get those lovely tiles. Okay, nearly done. There we go. So now we move down to this bottom section of the building, and right in the middle there's that doorway, which is very important. It's a very nice feature of the sketch. So we come down from the roof a little bit like that, and then we put 2 dots like this. And the reason I put 2 dots first is just to make sure before we commit to the outline of the door, we feel happy with the position. So just make sure that you have that little distance there, and it's right in the middle. So try and estimate that. And we start with the top of the doorway like this, and we go back and forth a little bit, and then we come down, straight down, and straight down this side. It's okay if there's just a wobble to it. And then inside we draw another rectangle like this. And then we can also add a second layer because there's a door frame. Now, a little light on the side there. And on the door we have a door handle. Number 1. There's a shiny number 1 on the door. It'd be funny if this house was really nice inside and refurbished. Okay, so we have the door. Oh, nice little door. That'll be nice with the orange we'll put there. So now the window, so come across that same height and then put 2 dots here. And just pause to have a look at that. Does that seem right, the right size? And then draw that top one and come down. Just keep the rectangle there. Draw another layer, another line. There we go. And then a line down the middle. And the middle. we go. So we should have 8 little windows there. And we come across that same distance here and put 2 dots again. And let's make the rectangle. There we go. And the windowsill, we've got to divide this up like this. There's a curtain in there. We'll add those in a bit more with the watercolor. And then you can see there's little dots here, a little support that have been drilled in to keep the house up. Put these little dots there, whatever they are. And you can see there's power. So there's a power line here, a little bit of wire there, and it comes out the side there. So let's draw a nice line quickly. If you want to, you can put a dot somewhere here that's about halfway of the roof, coming across, come out of the page about there. So now we'll aim for that nice swooping line. Okay, and then I think we can add another line just for artistic license, just to make it interesting. And that is the house. Now let's draw the countryside around the house, and we can do that by just drawing a couple of simple lines. So we got from this point here just a little bit and come across like that. And then on this side, the same thing. Just coming out maybe just less than half the building even. And we can add nice little details like these fences, fence lines, just impressionistic. There's even a fence line that comes up like this diagonally. And then we come down to this point and we can see these are thicker. You can actually see they're white, so probably made it a little bit too thick there, but like that. There's a little bit of a wire between them. And then from the corner of the building we're doing some more grass. What's on this side? We've got a bit of line there. And this way. It's an interesting thing. I won't put that building or whatever that is there. Oh, it looks like they're building a house there. So there's the foundation of a property. So we won't do that. But we will do the fence post and a gate. That's really nice. So that's just one line. You're just outlining things that you see there. Everyone's will be different, so that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. And we're coming up really close to the door. See how close it is? It's tempting to make this post a bit further down, but look how small that gap is. So come down just a little bit here and put 2 dots. See how wide that is? Comes up to that side of the door there, and then about a width of the door this way here. And that's that post. So, and then I think it's easier to make it with 4 dots. So you have a rectangle like that. And so let's outline the rectangle. Like that. Come down to this point and give it the thickness. Okay. And then it comes down this way. And once again, we won't try and make it a flat line there. Got that one. And then on this side, where does that come to? Probably about there. The edge of that window come down. And then again, look to where it comes. Should be equal to this one, so equal width. And let's do the top. Like that. Then the thickness, so a little bit of thickness on that side. And then this gate, which is a really nice, interesting feature here. So it goes diagonal, this run-down broken gate. Another bit there. So I'm just following those curves, and then we blend it in with a bit of grass like that. And here, let's give it that. See that curve there? We won't make it too squarish. We'll make sure the details are centered around this middle piece around the gate. So we can do that by just, and then this way. We won't go too much into this corner. It will be tempting to go there. So I've got my round 12 brush. So we've got our fresh water here, and I'm going to add water to the background here. Okay, go across like that, wet the paper. So before I do the rainbow on this side, I'm going to add some blue for the sky. So I've got cerulean blue, and just streak the sky through that wet section. But leave this little section, if you can, free. So I have my round 8. So I'll start with red. So I've got cadmium red and curving up. And then the yellow, so I've got cadmium yellow. There's a lot of water in that first one, so it went everywhere. So I've got the viridian green, and then we start at the bottom again and just almost touching the yellow. Ultramarine blue here, bleeding. So this is dioxidine purple. So whatever purple you have, you could also mix a blue like ultramarine and rose to get your purple. And then let's go this way. And to get this nice brown texture, we've got burnt umber. So put burnt umber here, but it's a bit too red and bright. So we need to dull it down. So the way I do that is I get Payne's grey. Whoa, too much. Too much. Okay, so I have burnt umber and Payne's grey mix. So just got a dark grey, a warm grey. So we'll start on this side, and we're not going to go exactly around these black sections. We can go on top of those later. Okay, so it's getting a bit darker. And now for this bottom section here, I'm going to add a little bit more Payne's grey, but we're still keeping it that warm tone. And as we go across again, we'll go around the windows this time. We went over these ones, but these are white, so we've got to leave those. And then here, see this section here, light a bit down here. We're going to exaggerate at the moment the colours difference. So this should be nice and light. And the door, been looking forward to doing that. We'll get a bit more cadmium yellow, and we're going to add that to the cadmium red. Still keeping it light, even though it's a really nice colour. Let's keep it light. And we can always add a second layer. So I'm just doing these little details before we do the grass. So straight cadmium red, and let's do these. Make sure this isn't too thick, the red here. Go around this. Now I want to do the landscape, so we're going to keep that simple as well. We're going to work from cadmium yellow at the top. So put a bit of cadmium yellow there. Make sure it's quite light. And very light, we're also adding sap green. So sap green here at the bottom. We're going to start up there like that. We can start there like on both sides like this. And then add our sap green coming down there. Or blend the colours in so it won't look quite so yellow there. But we just got to have that change in colour. It makes it interesting. If it was just all green, could look very plain, so but we don't have to overdo that, just a little bit. This tiny bit of Payne's grey with mostly sap green, so that's what we're looking for. Sap green, Payne's grey, darker, duller colour there for the shadowy greeny areas. And let's add those in. Plain water around here again, so I'm just going to put my plain water there. And then we have plain Payne's grey, so it's more of a blue when you don't add anything to it. It's a nice for our sky. And then let's add that into around there. Around there. So it passes there, and on this side as well. So with the shadows today, I'm going to try using ultramarine. So we're going to put ultramarine here, and then let's add just a little bit of Payne's grey to make it darker. There we go. So we've got a navy colour there. Navy colour, and then add in some of the rose and the different colours to it. Okay, so we've got to make sure this is still very light wash. We don't have to make it too dark for shadows. I'm going to add in a shadow here. Let's see if I can add that in, especially you've got watercolour paper just to this side. Okay, and then the other shadow here, we've got this nice shadow, strong shadow here from the doorway, and also on the side of the building. So we've got lots of shadow here, and then here, and you see, then we can do some of the darker areas where we have some of those repair areas. So Let's do that. That's a nice section there, and then over here we're repairing that. And you can see just above the door there that it looks like there's been a fire in the house, so I'm going to add some burnt umber to that Payne's grey, get it a bit warmer again, and let's add a little bit of smoke on this section here. And across here you can see it's darker across the top of the roof, so I'm going to add that in, so add a bit more texture there. And you can use splatters, areas there, see that? So we see the difference, so it's not a clean. But right now I've got this secret weapon, this toothbrush that I use sometimes, and one of my patrons advised me to try cutting some of that off so we have more control. So I've done that, and let's see how it goes. I'm going to do it on the roof because that's a bit safer. That works quite well. Add a bit more around that burnt section, maybe in the corner here. A little bit bigger there, see that's nice. I don't have to draw lots of grass, you're just randomly splattering it on. So I have my PC1M Posca pen, and we're going to add highlights on the top surfaces. So, and also some dots, there's lots of little dots on the roof there we can do. Some lines here, see that timber, it's disappeared, so I'm just going to add lines there to show the reflections off that. Something on the roof that grows. So just on the edge where it would catch the light, because things catch the light where it has the edge there on the sun. So I might have that. And here, this edge here would be catch the light. Makes that stand out a bit more too. Paint's flaked off. Now this nice layer on top. So I'm using the side of my pen to get a thicker stroke and the end to get the little dots. Mostly the grass is going to the right. And that's the final result. How did yours go? Did you enjoy sketching that through all the steps? There was a lot of actual steps in the texture there, which I wasn't expecting. So I hope that worked out really well for you. Just thank you so much for being part of this community and following my tutorials. I'll see you in the next one.